Hi bowl bakers, you know watching my show at this stage that there is more than one way to skin a cat. We have made cakes in the microwave, we've made breakfast tarts in the toaster oven, and now we are going to make brownies on the stovetop. These insanely good brownies do not require an oven at all. As always, the recipe can be found on my website, biggerbolderbaking.com. Okay, let's get started. So first ingredient, chocolate. Now I like to use a bittersweet chocolate because it has a nice richness to it, but you can use any kind of chocolate you like. Something around 72% is preferable. And then next we're going to add in some butter. Now what you want to do is take this, pop it into the microwave until it melts. You can also do this step over a bain-marie. You just want the chocolate and the butter to melt together. When the chocolate is melted, it's ready to go. Now I made a bit of a mistake. I used a very small bowl. I'm going to transfer it into a larger bowl because we're going to mix all of our ingredients in here together. So one thing when you're melting your chocolate, just don't let it get too hot because we need it to be kind of cool. The next ingredient I'm going to add in here is brown sugar. Now brown sugar is super important when it comes to brownies. If you can't find brown sugar, however, you can always use white or you can make your own at home. I've got a recipe on my website. Now we're going to add in some salt. Now I always add salt into my brownies because it just brings out the flavor of all the other ingredients and it just makes them really tasty. So definitely add that in there. And then just a little splash of vanilla extract. Then just whisk all these ingredients together. So let me tell you why I added in the brown sugar first. This is a little sneaky pastry chef trick. The reason we do it is because it cools down the chocolate before we add in our eggs. So you don't have to worry about that at all. And there you go. Like I said, the next thing we're going to do is add in our eggs. So a really common question I get asked is how do you substitute eggs in brownies? It's really, really easy. Go over to my website, check out my egg substitute chart, and on there it tells you how. You can replace these eggs with simple flax eggs and it will work really well. Once they're all in there, just whisk it all together. It's kind of starting to look like a lava cake. Look at that, gorgeous. Now the last few ingredients we're going to add in is a little bit of flour, chocolate, and hazelnuts. Just looking at the size of this batter, I probably could have done with an even bigger bowl. So all you want to do is just very gently whisk it until the flour is fully combined. So just a quick mix until there's no more flour. Check this out. Oh, this is looking amazing. So now I'm just going to bring in the tin that I'm going to cook it in. So here I have an 8x8 brownie tin. This is a very traditional sized tin. Mine is Good Cook. I'll put a link on my website of where you can get this. Honestly, you don't have to do it in a tin. If you've got like maybe a casserole dish or something like that, you can also cook in that. Just make sure the tin that you're going to cook it in will fit into a bigger pot that you have because we need for this to go into a bigger pot. Go ahead and pour your batter into your dish. Just make sure it's buttered and lined so you can get out your brownies. Somebody said to me recently, you never scrape the bottom of your bowl, and I always do. I was trained this way in school. You always scrape every single bit out of your bowl because it's all part of the recipe and you need it all in there. Look how much is left. You can already tell at this stage that these brownies are going to be huge and incredibly good. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scatter over a few more hazelnuts and some more chocolate chips. Now, if you don't eat hazelnuts, you want to leave nuts out altogether, that is totally fine. You don't have to replace them with anything. So we're almost ready to go. The last thing I'm going to do is just put a little tinfoil hat on this guy because you want to make sure that the condensation and the steam doesn't get into your brownies, but they are going to cook underneath the tinfoil. So we got our brownies, now let's talk saucepan. Here I have a nice wide saucepan. Mine is 12 inches and it will fit my little tin in there. So here's the deal. We're going to take a plate and you're going to turn it upside down and just place it in the bottom of your saucepan. Now what this plate is going to do is work as a trivet. It's going to separate the bottom of the pot from your brownies so they're not directly sitting on top. This is really, really important. Just a little word of advice, don't use your mommy's fine china because I don't want emails from people, okay? So just use just a regular old plate. Now because these brownies are cooked by steam, we need water. So I'm going to pour in some boiling water to the bottom of this plate. And then what we're going to do is pop on a lid, make sure your saucepan has a lid because you absolutely need it. And then turn it on to a medium heat and let it come to a nice simmer. You don't want a hard rolling boil, but you want a good simmer. So our water has come to a simmer. I'm going to remove the lid and then carefully place in your brownies. If you need help with this, make sure you ask for it. And then straight away back on with our lid. Here is the really important thing that you have to note when making something on the stovetop. You want to make sure that you keep on topping it up every 15-20 minutes or so with boiling water because the water evaporates and it boils off. So you want to make sure there's always water on there to create steam. So now these are Stovetop Brownies. The beauty about these guys is that they steam, so they're really lovely and soft. It's not dry bake like an oven. However, if you do want to bake this recipe in an oven, you can bake it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius for roughly around 40 minutes or so, just until you get that nice fudgy center. So we're going to let this simmer away for around an hour and 15 minutes. They do take quite a while because they are so thick, but at the end I'm going to show you what you're looking for when they're done. So I did have a little peek a few minutes ago and my brownie is looking really good. So I'm going to turn off my pot and with my oven mitts very carefully lift it out. Oh my gosh, this weighs a ton. So come here to me, let me show you what it's going to look like when it's finished. So as you can see, if I shake it a little bit, it does look a little bit runny, but that is perfect. This is what we're going for, because what we have to do is set this over to the side, let the brownies go completely cold, and then they will set up themselves. So it's been a while and my brownies have completely cooled down, and as you can see, just like I said, they've firmed up. So these are perfect. Now, I want to show you what they look like on the inside because you're not going to believe it. So now check this out. These aren't chewy brownies. When you steam them like this, they end up being incredibly fudgy. So all of that there, that is straight up legit fudge. I've got chocolate on my fingers. I've got chocolate everywhere. These taste absolutely amazing. The difference between these brownies and my previous brownies is that these are like baked fudge. They're incredibly rich, really fudgy, and just thick and dense, but in a really good way. So these brownies will keep at room temperature for 3 to 4 days and they'll only get better. Also, they freeze really well. So right now, head over to biggerbolderbaking.com and get this recipe and lots more recipes that you can make without an oven. I'll see you back here really soon for more bigger, bolder baking.